Alright guys, good morning. I have a two-part video for you today, so I'm going to talk about two different skills. One of them is a reading skill, and then one of them is going to goes along with your IXL for today. So I want to talk to you about those two different skills. So the first one is a reading skill, and it's a skill about what to do when you are reading and sometimes you get distracted. I'm wondering if that ever happens to you. Sometimes it happens to me too. So I'm reading along in my book and I'm reading, and all of a sudden I'll be like 2 pages in or something, and all of a sudden I notice that instead of thinking about my book, I've been thinking about something else in my life. Like I've been thinking about talking to a friend, or thinking about my family, or thinking about something else that I have to do, and all of a sudden I go, I have no idea what's going on in my story. Has that ever happened to you? I'm sure it has. So if that happens to you, and it's okay because it happens to all readers, here's some ideas of what to do. So I'm going to show you some ideas that I have for you of what to do when you get distracted, because that can happen when you're doing your silent reading. So here's my title: Reread to get back into your book. So if you notice that happening, you don't want to just keep going, because then you might have missed a really important part. And if you keep going, you might not understand what's happening in your book. And if you don't understand, there's really no sense in reading. You'll be lost. So rereading is the key. So when you get distracted, when you're thinking about something else, here's the 3 steps to do. The first thing, stop. Yeah. Well, as soon as you notice, stop. And what you want to do is you want to notice, where was it that your attention started to drift? Where was it in the book that your attention just started, your mind started thinking about other things? Stop and notice when that happened. All right? And then the next thing you're going to want to do is go back. So you kind of have to flip back through some pages and do some skimming with your eyes. Skim through, and you want to try to go to the last thing that you remember really understanding. So what was the piece that you really understood? So as you're flipping back, you go, oh yeah, I remember this happening. I remember what was going on here. So think back to, what do you is the last thing that you really understood, you really remember understanding. So then once you get to that point, here's what you have to do. You have to reread it. You have to go back and you have to reread from there to get back in your book. Now that might seem like, oh gee, I already did the work. I already read that part. I don't want to go back and reread again. But remember what reading is about. If you're just reading to read words and you're not understanding, you're just wasting your time. You're just saying a bunch of words. You might as well open up a dictionary and just read random words. It's really a waste of time, right? So reread to get back into your book when you find yourself getting distracted. All right, so that's your little mini lesson today about your book. So I'm going to switch over now, and I'm going to show you something different. I'm going to have to move my camera. But before I do that, I want to tell you one thing. I know that some of you, when you've been doing your IXL, have gotten a little discouraged lately. You've thought that maybe it was a little bit more tricky, a little bit difficult. So I'm going to let you know that this week's IXL is not as long maybe as last week's. You're not going to have the big passages to read where you have to read like a whole paragraph to figure something out. They're going to be much shorter. So if you got a little discouraged with last week's IXL, relax, take a break. It's going to be a little bit easier this week. And if you haven't jumped onto IXL yet, I want you to really try to do that. This is a good week to do it. It's one of those things that Mrs. Reading can go on the computer and I can check out how you're doing, and I really want to be able to take a look and see how you've been doing. So if you haven't had a chance, or if you're discouraged, this is a really great week to sign into IXL. If it's giving you any kind of trouble at all, shoot me a message and let me know, and I'll try to fix it for you. Okay, so I'm going to get up and I'm going to move the camera so you can see my workspace, my desk that I'm working on. All right, so give me just a sec. All right, I'm going to move you over here so you can see my desk. Can you see my new teaching space, my new desk that I'm working with here? Let me get you close enough so you can see my cards. Can you see those? All right, here I come back again. All right, so what we're going to be talking about, I hope you can see these. I have some cards here on the board, and what we're going to be talking about for our IXL skill is synonyms. It's something that we've talked quite a bit about, but I want to refresh and I want to talk about synonyms. If you remember, synonyms are two words that mean the same or almost the same thing. And they can be interchanged in different sentences or in a paragraph. So this is important to know, synonyms, because sometimes when you read a word and you aren't quite sure, but you know that it sounds or it's like another word that you do know, it can help you understand. It's also really good when you are writing. If you have one word, you can sometimes think of a different word that's either a more exciting word or a word that fits a little bit better. So I have some words here. I have these little chef guys, and there's some words on them. And then I have over here, I have some pizzas that have some synonyms on them. So I have the word jump, slim, aged, easy, small, giant, dark, throw, voyage, and dirty. And then I have over here some pizzas. So we're just going to match them up real quick just to do a little practice with synonyms. So here I have the word gloomy. So if I was going to look here and match one that's meant almost the same as gloomy, I would put it right here next to dark. We could say it's a dark night or it's a gloomy night. All right, let's try this one. Trip. I'm going to go on a trip to Disney World, or I'm going to go on a giant. No. I'm going to go on a throw. No. I'm going to go on a voyage. See how those words are almost the same? All right, here's the next one. Leap. Have you already figured out which one it goes with? Leap. I'm going to leap over the bushes. I'm going to jump over the bushes. All right, let's try the next one. Messy. Messy. My room is messy. My room is slim. My room is aged. My room is easy. My room is throw. My room is giant. Well, wait, that makes sense. My room is giant. That makes sense of the sentence, but does it mean the same thing? No. Here we go. Dirty. My room is dirty. It needs to be cleaned up. All right, let's try this one. Toss. I'm going to toss the ball. I'm going to throw the ball. It means almost the same thing. Simple. That was a simple math problem that Mrs. Anderson gave us. That was an easy math problem. Old. Mrs. Reading is so old that sometimes she forgets our names. Okay, how about this one? Mrs. Reading is so giant. Mrs. Reading is so small. Mrs. Reading is so aged. There it goes. All right, 3 more. Let's see how we do. Huge. Huge. Let's see this one. Slim, giant, or small. What means the same as huge? Giant. You got it. Thin. I like a thin piece of pizza. Thin or slim. There we go. And the last one is going to be easy. Tiny or small. So there's our matches. I hope you can see those okay with my camera. All right, so there we go. So these are synonyms, words that mean the same. And your IXL for today is going to be using synonyms. So you're going to have one sentence that might say something like, my brother asked me to throw the ball to him. And you'll have to pick another sentence that has a word that means the same, like my brother tossed the ball to me. And you just have to find 2 sentences that mean the same thing, but they have different words in them. So it's only reading sentences. It's not quite that difficult as it was last week. All right, so give it a try. All right, guys, see you tomorrow. Have a great day.